Like the events of The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings starts with a party. Not an unexpected one, but a long-expected party. Bilbo Baggins has to leave the Shire. He has to leave the ring behind. What better way than with a great big party to celebrate his extraordinary life? Bilbo had a life that was coloured, unlike his neighbours, with adventure and excitement. A life where he triumphed over trolls and spiders, dragons and goblins. Bilbo had done great things in his life, things worthy to be celebrated. He could not just slip away in the night. He wanted people to remember him. And of course, he had just the thing to make sure that he would not be forgotten. They would be given something to talk about for 9 days, or 99 more likely. He had a magic ring that would make him invisible. 11 years, one gross years in Middle-earth would not pass by without a bit of fun. Not that you would know Bilbo was 111 by looking at him. He looked just as he did when he was 50.
Bilbo Baggins.
Dear God, no.
Good to see you. 111 years old, who would believe it? You haven't aged a day.
The party was not the only way that Bilbo had ensured he would be remembered. He was leaving something else behind. My book. The book that recorded his great adventure to the lonely mountain with Thorin and company. I do not think that Bilbo was so concerned with the hobbits who knew him reading the book, but rather it was for those who came after, who must know what he had done. Though, as I recall, it was not the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth that was recorded in Bilbo's book, the Red Book of Westermarch. But we might look at that subject in another video. Bilbo wrote the book, yes, but was he really the author of the tale? Many people will tell you that what made the world of Middle-earth so good was the size of the story. Those who, like me, have read the Silmarillion know that J.R.R. Tolkien's world building covered everything from the story of Middle-earth's creation by Ilúvatar through the First and Second Age before the events of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings even take place. A long and often detailed history of events, with places and characters who come and go in the telling. The Silmarillion hints that Ilúvatar has themes and purposes that even the Valar could not understand or did not know about. J.R.R. Tolkien, being a Christian, could not help but allow his worldview to affect his writing. In fact, in 1953, he wrote to Robert Murray, a priest, and said, "The Lord of the Rings is, of course, a fundamentally religious and Catholic work. Unconsciously so at first, but consciously in the revision." Tolkien understood that in order for the events of his story to make sense, there had to be a purpose to them. There had to be a guiding hand, not so obvious to the characters that they would see the influence too often or too strong. Elves, men, dwarves, and even hobbits had to act. They had to do their part in the story, not because Ilúvatar needed them to. Sauron was, after all, just a Maiar, only a lieutenant of Morgoth who had been destroyed by the more powerful and numerous Valar. So why did the all-powerful monotheistic God allow such darkness to dwell in Middle-earth? Why did he allow the free peoples of Middle-earth to stand in alliance without his obvious help? Perhaps it was to allow them to choose to act. Perhaps Ilúvatar wanted them to have the option to be brave and noble, to choose to do the right thing like Gandalf, to resist the temptation like Galadriel, and to stay the course like Aragorn. We can, of course, think of those who were not so noble, those who did the wrong thing like Saruman, did not resist like Boromir, and who lost hope like Denethor. The story of Middle-earth would have been very different were it not for the seemingly small actions of a hobbit from the Shire. Were he to hide behind his closed door with the lights off when dwarves interrupted dinner? Had he fled the forest instead of finding his friends? Had he not shown mercy when faced with a piteous and hateful creature? We did not need to look too far into the Bible to see the inspiration for Tolkien's Iluvatar. Whether that is in the events of Joshua's life, where he came face to face with the commander of the army of the Lord, God taking a direct and obvious dealing in human history, or in the book of Esther, where God is never mentioned, but the unexpected coincidences stack up to infer divine intervention. Malachi chapter 3 verse 6 tells us that God does not change. The same God who intervened in Joshua's life and Esther's is the same God who has a plan for all our lives and is working out his purposes today. There's a character in the book who does not appear in the films who I find very intriguing. Not Tom Bombadil, though he is very interesting. Rather, Fredegar Bolger, Fatty to his friends. He was part of the group of hobbits that knew what Frodo had planned. They knew about Bilbo's ring. Fatty chose not to go with the rest of the hobbits into the Old Forest and off on their adventure, leaving his comfort zone and risking the perils of the road. He was not an evil character, but he did not have the chance to grow like Merry and Pippin. Fatty did not look upon the white tree of Gondor, nor did he hear the horn of Rohan, or the drumbeat of their hooves upon the Pelennor field. He was not lifted from Mount Doom by a great eagle. We, of course, would love to be the star, the hero, the one about whom the tale tells. We would, like Bilbo, write our own tale for others to read and wonder at our adventures. Yet you will note that Gimli sang about great ages past when in chapter 4 of book 2 his chorus harkens back. The world was fair, the mountains tall, in elder days before the fall. Gimli at least recognises that there were great events in motion long before they entered the story. And you will see that Bilbo, in the Council of Elrond, suggests that he should take the ring and deal with it. But he is stopped. Frodo has to take the ring. Bilbo's work is done. Frodo must take the next steps, not alone, but with the help of the Fellowship. And most importantly, of course, Sam. So it is with us. We cannot play all the parts. We cannot fill all the roles. We have to humbly accept the role we have been given, to just be a hobbit in the great wide world, to carry our burdens and complete our tasks, even if our burden is to carry another and their burden for a little way. We must accept that others will continue writing in the book, for it's not really our book, though we write in it for a little while.